What is up, everybody? I am Get Flanked, and even though Maverick has been out for a couple seasons now, I think there's a lot of people who look at Maverick as the guy who can just go and put holes in walls and then shoot people through them. And I really feel like that is not doing Maverick justice. There's a lot of people that just use Maverick plain wrong, in my opinion. So I wanted to make this video today talking about Maverick because of what I'm seeing in game, but also because next season pick and ban's coming to ranked, and Maverick is going to become even more important once that happens. You're going to see games where Thatcher is banned. You're going to see games where Hibana or Thermite is banned, and that's going to make Maverick extremely important because yes, Maverick is that guy who can put holes in walls and shoot people through them, but he's also a guy who can hard breach as well. So that's really the first thing that I want to get across in this video. And if you only take one thing from it, if you're that type of person who only sees Maverick as the guy who can put holes in walls and then look through them and kill people, then you're playing Maverick wrong. And I think Maverick can be a poor man's Thatcher. He can put holes and get rid of bandit charges off of walls. He can be a poor man's Thermite, a poor man's Hibana. I'd rather have a Thatcher, a Hibana, or a Thermite in any of those situations. Maverick's not necessarily ideal to do the hard destruction, to open the hatches, to get rid of those bandit charges. But again, with pick and ban coming next season, you're going to have to be creative with how you get some of these jobs done. And Maverick is that guy who can do a lot of these jobs for you if a Thatcher is banned and you need to open a hatch with an Electro Claw on it. Maverick's your man for that. So keep that in mind. The other thing I'll say is that Maverick has a good bit of fragging potential as well. He's a 3-speed. His gun's good. I think that that's another aspect of Maverick that a lot of people are kind of overlooking right now, is just that, Maverick, at the end of the day, besides the fact that he can get great utility, he also has a lot of fragging capability. Okay, so let's start right now with what I see the number one mistake of people using Maverick is. And I'm actually going to show it in this clip right now. I'm playing as Legion, and what you're going to see is the Maverick goes up to this wall, the main wall in the objective, and puts a hole and then looks through it, and I get an easy kill on him. That is what I mean by, if you're putting a hole in a place where the defenders are going to see it, then you as the Maverick are at a disadvantage. I have this whole room I can rotate while still keeping my sights on that hole, whereas the Maverick has to end up on that hole, So that's the big concept right there. Stop doing that, okay? I'm not saying you can't go up to walls and put holes and look through them, but it can't be the main wall. It can't be the wall where everybody's attention is focused already. Now, I'll be the first to admit I'm guilty of this as well. On the screen right now is a clip of me doing something similar. I'm playing vertical with Maverick, but again, I'm putting a hole right above the objective. It's somewhere that the enemies are very likely to either hear or see it. And then I peek it right away, and I'm an easy kill for that guy. Now, you'll watch in the kill cam. He hears it right here. Watching the kill cam, he turns directly towards me after he hears the torch, and how easy of a kill this is for him. So that's what I'm talking about right there. You have to be more creative with how you're making these holes and attacking the objective if you're wanting to use Maverick that way. Okay, now let's take a look at using Maverick a little bit more intelligently. And again, we're still in that kind of role of him putting holes in walls and shooting people through them. That's what we're talking about here. The difference you're going to see in this clip is we're attacking the Oregon kitchen objective. And what I'm going to do is, instead of putting a hole in the main wall, the wall that the defenders are typically focused on, which would be that hard wall that goes into the small tower, I'm going to let my teammates go over there, cause a distraction. I'm going to put a hole in this wall that looks into the kitchen kind of closet area there and catch them by surprise. Again, remember the major thing that I said in the beginning is that if you're putting a hole somewhere that the enemies know where you are and know that the hole is there, you're at a disadvantage. So in this clip, you're going to see me putting holes in places where the enemies aren't expecting it. I pick up that first kill up there in the attic. Again, that's a hole that the enemies weren't expecting. I got that information from the drone. Now I'm going to move over this hard wall that looks into the kitchen. And you'll see here that whenever I do put this hole, how easy of a kill this is for me, because again, this person's on a drone just sitting in there. They're not expecting a hole back here. This isn't where their attention is. If you guys have watched the channel for a while, you've seen probably several clips of me using this strat on this objective. It works. And again, the big thing is that you're catching them by surprise. Okay, let's move over to another example now. This is on Coastline. And this is another objective where I have a lot of success with Maverick. Normally, if they're in the penthouse, then I'll try and get on this theater wall and put holes back here. Now, this isn't quite as sneaky as the Oregon kitchen closet wall. Generally, there will be defenders who are close to this wall who may very well hear you using the torch back here and may turn around and look through the holes and try to kill you. So what you're going to see me do here is use my drone to let me know, is it okay for me to peek my hole or not? And that's really something I want to reiterate here as well. It's nice if you can have a teammate watch your flank while you're doing this. You're going to see I'm very exposed while I'm using my drone here. But the big concept is that I place the hole and then use my drone to tell me if I'm safe to peek it or not. And if you do that, I think you're going to find that you have a lot more success as Maverick and you die a lot less to defenders just watching a hole and peeking you from it. So I would say it really depends the wall that you're putting the hole in. How likely are the defenders to be having their attention that way? In this situation, this theater wall, it's fairly likely. I think a lot of times the attention is more towards the bathroom area. That's why I feel kind of safe coming this way. But it's common enough for them to be looking this way or be close enough to where I do feel like if I'm putting a hole, I have to use my drone to give me more information, or else I'm very likely just to die from them peeking it. So you saw me use my drone. I saw that the Jaeger wasn't looking my way. That was an easy kill. Now I'm going to hop back on it and see what else is going on in here. And then I see that a defender, after I pick up that kill, does actually shift his attention towards me. You can see the Rook is right up on that hole right now trying to peek me. So we're going to go on a little Maverick hole battle here between me and this Rook. But the big thing there is, guys, a drone is Maverick's best friend. A lot of times, what I'm talking about here with Maverick is going to put you in situations where you're kind of lone wolf, where you're kind of out by yourself. You're actually wanting your teammates to be causing a distraction, to be getting the attention of the defenders in a different direction than what you're coming from. So you have to be comfortable using that drone for yourself. And granted, you are exposed while you're on that drone a lot of times. So you want to limit that if you can. But at the end of the day, the big concept is that if you're putting a hole in a wall that you think the defenders might have their attention towards, use that drone to tell you if it's safe to peek it or not. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about Maverick as a poor man's Thatcher, a poor man's Thermite, a poor man's Habana, okay? And this is going to be a little bit more opinion-based here. This is something that I think that is going to be really important for you to get ahead of next season. I mentioned the pick and ban and why that's going to be so important, but the time to start getting familiar and comfortable with Maverick and getting rid of bandit batteries and opening hatches is now. You need to start practicing this now. I think a lot of ranked matches next season will come down to whoever can use Maverick the best to get by without a Thermite, to get by without a Thatcher. If you're already comfortable in that role as a Maverick and you feel you know the best way to open hatches, you know the best way to get rid of bandit charges, that's going to give you an advantage next season. Now, one thing that I want to tell you to start working on right now, and this is a mistake that I see a lot of people do when they're using Maverick to try to get rid of bandit charges, to try to, use Maverick as a Thatcher normally would. What they'll do is they go and they open the bottom of this and then they try to shoot out the bandits. And then meanwhile, bandits laying down on the floor there looking through the holes and they end up killing that Maverick. If you're doing that for a Thermite's waiting to open this wall after you get rid of these bandit batteries, make sure that that Thermite is droning for you. Try and have that Thermite drone into the objective and see if anybody's in a position to peek through the holes that you're making. He doesn't even have to take the drone into the objective. He can use the drone to look through the holes that you just made to see if the coast is clear before you go and shoot out the bandit batteries and stuff like that. If the Thermite's just waiting for you to open a wall, then make sure the Thermite is useful in droning for you while you're doing that. That's going to increase your success rate when you do that so much and allow you both to survive that instead of you dying in the process of trying to get rid of these bandit batteries. The other thing I'll say with Maverick is really think about your team composition, specifically Habana. And can you get rid of Habana on some objectives? Like, for example, if you're attacking on Clubhouse in the bottom floor, it's very, very common to bring a Habana and a Thermite there. A lot of people will do that. Habana for the hatches, Thermite for the church wall. What about replacing that Habana with a Maverick? You can still open one hatch with the Thermite. You can open another hatch with the Maverick, maybe even two if you're really, really efficient at it. I'm pretty sure you can open two hatches with a Maverick if you're really, really efficient with how you use the fuel. So you can still accomplish everything. And in my opinion, with Maverick, you're going to have higher fragging capability than you would with that Habana. So think about Maverick in your team composition, and specifically, can the Maverick replace the Habana? If you're only using the Habana to open one, maybe two hatches, then can you get away with bringing a Maverick instead? Okay, guys, that's really it for the video. I want to reiterate, the big thing is that you need to be using Maverick more intelligently. If you're using him to put holes in walls and shoot through them, make sure you're doing it in a sneaky way. If the defenders know where that hole is, you're at a disadvantage. Try placing them on walls that are not the focal point of the defense. They are not in the direction that they're going to be looking. Try to have your teammates create a distraction so that they're not looking your direction. You're going to have a lot more success in that style of using Maverick if you do that. Also, use your drone to tell you if it's safe to peek. If you're concerned that they might be looking your way, that they might be close enough to hear your torch, use your drone to tell you if it's safe. And finally, get comfortable using Maverick in replacement of Thermite, Thatcher, and Hibana. That's it for the video. Let me know what you all think down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure that you like and subscribe, and I'll have more coming your way here soon.